I'm back, respectively, I've never left. This is yours truly, XaosPrincess, in her social VR home on Tivoli Cloud VR. And on this video essay on living the future in social VR, I'd like to take you on a creator's journey and tell you how we set up our lockdown dance parties last year in the corona crisis. So I guess everybody can remember where they were when the World Health Organization called out the pandemic on March 11th, 2020. I was in here and my immediate response was, I'm gonna go totally mad with cabin fever if I don't get a party. And luckily, the CTO of Tivoli Cloud VR, Maki Depres, and the CEO, Caitlin Meeks, saw that the same way and granted their support. And we also found great help in the community. And so we set up our first and then our second lockdown dance party on Tivoli Cloud VR. And our first station is gonna be the spatial narrative, for which I want to invite you to my POV. This is our Explore menu, and you can find the lockdown dance party in the top left corner. Clicking on it will bring you there. And while we have this wonderful Explore menu, while designing the space for the lockdown dance party, we also put great effort in making it easy also for spontaneous users to move around and to find what they're looking for without having to learn a user interface. That's why we made this the arrival point, and the users then could go to the control poster and find out how they could move, and even more important, to the audio explanation side in order to find out how to adjust the audio if they have problems. And we also thought about that probably after having everything set up, the users will want to turn around, and then they can find a variety of avatars which are clickable and also like easy to employ. And after one 360 turn, the users see these lovely arrows which will guide them to our club. Let's go there. So this is the entrance space. I love it, Tivoli. Here to the left and to the right, we have our announcements. And here it's welcome to our club. It has meanwhile a bit been refurbished, but this was basically the club, the Tivoli Cloud VR community built for the lockdown dance parties. And just being in that space was so healing for everybody. I never had it beforehand that a pro bono collaborators community would stay online for 7 or 9 hours and always find something more to build, just because it was so healing to be in this wide open space instead of a tiny locked down apartment. What was also cool, and still is cool, that in Tivoli Cloud VR we can adjust attenuation zones. So on the dance floor we would put the music up to 11, while in the quieter areas on the bar or at the window you could have like really whispering, intimate talks, since the music there was only to hear so that you could recognize your favorite song if you wanted to dance to it. And what's also should be taken into account when designing such a space is the amount of users you are expecting. So even though you can do anything in VR, it doesn't make sense to build like a whole airport hall if you only get like 20 users, because everybody will feel lost there. So with this club, we designed it for being nice and providing like a filled feeling with like around 100 people. And we also wanted to give users something to do. So here we have our physics board. Currently you can throw balls and Tivoli frisbees or beer bottles into this basketball basket. When we had the lockdown dance parties, you only had beer bottles and could throw it against viruses and drive them away by throwing it. Hence, it's called the beer bottle throwing gallery. Another nice feature we had for the desktop users is the dance tiles. So when you're in desktop and can't move that wildly like I can in VR, you could click on these dance tiles and each of them would spin up a different dance animation. So everybody would also appear moving, and that added so much to this clubby partying atmosphere. What else added to that atmosphere is our bar, of course. Every club needs a bar. Here we also have throwable bottles. Now, I don't want to throw it to Philip Rosedale and Caitlin Meeks and Marky Praise. They're my heroes. And we have also something in a club, you need drugs. So we have fancy pills, which will change your visuals. This one is the wireframe, but they are randomized. So here we have the white one. And let's find my normal map. Yeah, the normal map is my favorite one. So everything is purpley in the psychedelic pills normal map. And now, since we're back to normal view, we can go back to our entrance. So here we have put up the credentials table, because it's always difficult in a spatial design to credit who helped building the space correctly. So we thought it would be a nice thing if people are on their way out or looking back into the wardrobe, so to say, to have like everybody who contributed to this wonderful club listed on here. And to my right, I also put up a little cheat sheet so that I can tell all of you what's important if you're building a spatial narrative. So if you can get rid of a user interface, that's always very welcome, especially by new or spontaneous users. And yeah, I explained the thing with the amount of visitors. So always think of how many visitors you are expecting and scale your space according to it. And of course, the audio in Tivoli Cloud VR rocks. It's currently the best spatial audio on the market, which is the high fidelity audio codec. Look it up. And since we're already here in this corner, I want to take you to the wardrobe, aka avatar room once again. So let's talk about avatars. In case you're wondering who this person is, this is my real life body. But I have to confess that I prefer my self-made VR body evermore, since VR gives us the amazing opportunity to really express our inner self or selves, independent of any winnings in an age or gene lottery or of what you had for breakfast today. And a friend of mine, he took that to the total extreme by doing his business under one name in a kind of serious looking, still anime avatar. But when he wanted to express his inner child, he used a voice distorter and went to this little tiny thing. And this caused a lot of controversy among the community, because sometimes they were talking like to the one guy in the one body, telling them secrets or gossip about the other one. And therefore, it is very important to still have a proof of identity. I'm still totally opposed to Facebook's real name policy, because also like this amazing option of like trying different bodies in VR is used, for example, by transgender folks, and they're having like great experiences with that. But unfortunately, this can sometimes end fatal if they're doxxed in their little village as, yeah, this is a guy in a girl's body in VR. So I'm really hoping that we maybe can have like a proof of identity also for business, that you're always dealing with the same person behind that self-chosen avatar, that a proof of identity could maybe work out on the blockchain in the future. And with that, I also put up my cheat sheet, but I think I have explained everything. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is our visual narrative. Always keep in mind that this was done in March 2020, when Corona had just been announced as global pandemic. So we as creators were also like terribly busy processing this newly emerged threat, and therefore all our visual ideas were about Corona and virus. So we put up a huge virus as a disco ball. We had these little viruses you could throw beer bottles at. But we also did something nice, because we wanted to save the reputation of all the poor things and persons who are called Corona and are now being treated as a big threat. So therefore we put up as posters like images of a singer and a saint, and of course of the beer, all being called Corona, but for a good deed. And with Tivoli Cloud VR, we also did a good deed, which was creating a fundraiser for Folding at Home. Folding at Home is an organization to which you can donate computing power, and therefore catching two birds in one net. One bird being that running a computer, even if it's idle, takes electrical current, which pollutes the environment. So why not catch a second bird by donating that computing power to create a supercomputer which can do the most complicated calculations. Like in our fundraiser case, that was used for researching the corona vaccination. And in general, this CPU economy, how I call it, is a big vision for living in the future. In Folding at Home's case, a good one. But there are also questionable use cases, like, for example, Bitcoin mining uses a similar technique. But what I could imagine as really wonderful is to have computing power as a currency in virtual worlds. so that you could exchange server power or calculating power whenever you're idle and whenever you need big power for a party, for example, can get back from the community. And with our fundraiser, for example, we raised $1,400 because we let our 64 core server run for $10 worth of computing power for each visitor to our party. And we also announced it here in our announcement area, and I know of a couple of our visitors who then also downloaded their own folding at home client, and we are very happy that our party was also good for researching the coronavirus. And now we're back on the big screen for some musings on time. So our lockdown dance party narrative over time followed the one of a classical industry party, with Act 1 being the entrance, onboarding, announcements and speeches. Act 2 taking care of connecting, reconnecting and networking. And for Act 3 we shut down our live stream and partied like 1999. And everybody had great fun, even though it was quite a challenge to find a perfect time slot for such a global party like we have them in social VR. But experiments over time have proven that one time slot is the most convenient one, which is 2 p.m. Pacific time on a Saturday afternoon, which is like a late brunch for the West Coast, a early evening for the East Coast, and a late evening for Europe. And that's really fine for everyone, like a golden middle currently. Still, my big hope for the future is that party crowds as well as collaboration teams will organize themselves by their own inner clock instead of following this 9 to 5 dictate. And so you could have like a team being a night owl like myself on it, working together with an early bird from Asia and a daytime person from America, and everybody living up to their best capabilities. And I'm really looking forward to this timekeeping of the future. And now we've reached the end of this video essay. And while a big shout out goes out to Caitlin and Maki from Tivoli Cloud VR and Darling from Darling VR for helping me set up this video, my greatest gratitude goes out to you for joining me on this trip. And if you want to visit me in the future, just download our client from tivolicloud.com. And while I leave you with some lockdown dance party impressions on the big screen behind me, I personally can't wait to dance on that acorn behind me. So I say, have a wonderful day or night, and see you soon in social VR.